feel like an intro, but this season 2 could have been done in one, but felt I needed to. The perfection of our conception projected through reflection that's connected is a blessing, and I needed to. Plus I need a few moments just to speak to you about these individuals whose mission to deceiving you, saying the achievable is just so unachievable, but that's only conceivable if you say and believe it's true. Protect the presence of essence with the aggression of a guard dog. Did you forget you was a god, y'all? Maybe you need someone believing you. Well, damn it, I believe in you. Not cause I'm expecting perception, I can see me and you. There's power in the questions and lessons is what I teach to you. Injecting my perspective suggested, no, I don't preach to you. Rejecting that you less than forever, know that you equal to. But this really for my people though, cause evil grows inside of the kind of minds that are ego drove. So engulfed inside of they ride, they cannot see the road. They criticize your drive, apply, they won't even go. Cause fear and faith is the only thing in comparison. One requires courage, the other desires evidence. How can what was ever determine what never been? Then again, the devil is ignorance mixed with arrogance. But we are the conscious collective. And CC, so I hope you get the message. But we are the conscious collective. Or CC, so I hope you get the message. Well, so what's the difference between a heterosexual and a homosexual? Short answer, nothing. There's no difference. And give you an example. So if humans label someone as homophobic, the general consensus seems to be that they hate homosexuals. I think that's playing on the words. Homo means same, similar. So it's the same. That's what it really means. Those are two definitions of the word phobia. An extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. And the other one says an overwhelming and debilitating fear of an object, place, situation, feeling, or animal. So if you hate, dislike, or want to hurt a specific demographic, does that mean that you're afraid of them because of your phobia? And I would also ask, if that is the case, why aren't people that hate, hurt, and even kill people that look like me called Afrophobic? Does what you do define who you are? It's similar to how they say the house slave and the field slave, they're fighting. House slave hate them field slaves, and the field slave hate them house slaves. They fight each other. They mad at each other when they're both enslaved. This is how wisdom comes into play. Wisdom understands this because we're all in this together. We're all ingredients to a dish. We're all elements on this periodic table. We're all planets in this solar system, or just predator and prey in this jungle called life. So why would I see a difference just because someone said there is one? Well, that feel good right there, but welcome. Thank you. Thank you. You are too kind. You are what they call too kind. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. There's power in the question. Information is information. I'm your host, Q. I'm your brother, Q. I'm your guy, Q. And we here doing our thing here in season 2. Because we do it for the kids. What's going on with y'all, man? It's a day. It's a day. I got both cameras going. You guys may not know this. I got a little new mic position. I'm trying all type of stuff. Let me take these headphones off to start it. You know what? Let's start like this. Have you guys ever felt like you were crazy? Think about it. Like, have you ever one day just been sitting there thinking it was like, man, I might be crazy than a Mickey Ficky. Like, what's going on with me? Am I crazy? I've had that happen to me twice. I mean, 2 strong times. Now, granted, don't ask me like, hey, were you under the influence of anything? That's none of your business. If you hear from season 1, you already know what it is. But that's none of your business. Okay? So I was chilling. And it happened to me one time before I was about to quit my show. I was done with everything. I'm like, man, am I crazy? I might be crazy. This ain't cool. If you crazy, you over there talking to people, trying to get more people to be crazy like you. It was crazy. So I tell you guys, I write a lot. So I have a lot of writing, a lot of perspective, a lot of ideals, a lot of theories, a lot of guests, dreams. I have a lot of stuff. So I was thinking about something. I forget what it was, but I was thinking about something. You know, it's crazy. It was Friday the 13th. It was Friday. That did not help. I think it was Friday 13th. No, it was the 14th. It was the day after. I watched Friday the 13th, the movie on Friday the 13th. It kind of held up. To be honest. It was a lot of silliness, a lot of Charlton Heston type acting. But other than that, it held up. I liked it. And then the next day, I had that experience where I was thinking about something. I was breaking something down. And you ever thought too much? Like you thinking about something like, man, I got this idea. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to break it down. And it just keep breaking down to the point where you be like, am I crazy? Like, am I crazy? Am I just making up stuff? So that's what I went through. And I'm wondering, has any of the conscious collective, have you guys ever felt like that? Have you ever just felt like, man, I might be crazy than a Mickey Ficky? But that's what I had, just to share with you guys. But today I have these two cameras up just to see how they look. I have my original camera, which is actually just a GoPro. They not sponsoring me or anything. So have a little camera. Then I bought another camera, 4K camera. And you guys haven't started paying me. So shouts out to the PayPal. There's power in the Q. Q is spelled QUE. There's a support the link show. If you go to my audio, go ahead, support. And I plan on making I don't know about Cash App. A lot of people use it. And what I do in my regular life, I work in fraud. And I just don't want no problems. I want to make a show. And I'll be like, hey, yeah. And, donate to the show. This is going to go to new equipment. This is going to go to this, go to that. And then I get some fraud. And now y'all like, oh, you was just trying to steal money. I don't want those problems. So anyway, to support the show, I appreciate it. Season 3, if I do season 3, because again, I just went through something and said I might be crazy. So going through, if I do season 3 and I'm not crazy, with that one, that's the one I'm going to make it where you got to pay to experience. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be real fun. It's going to be, kicking it with me, some of my thoughts and theories, because you got to understand the way I see the world, it takes a lot to explain it. The simple answer, I can tell you the answer of everything I'm talking about. Season 1 and 2. Well, season 1 is about knowledge of self. I had to give you a different answer, which go check out the episode. It's called The Answer with a Question Mark. You lost in the world looking for answers. That's answerless. You have all the answers. You are God. Look, go ahead and check that out. Trust me. But in season 2 with wisdom, every episode is connected. Even though I've had a lot of fun. In the beginning of the season, I've been having a lot of fun. It's a good pastime. It's a good way to distract me when I have those thoughts. And when I say those thoughts, I mean those thoughts where it's, sad thoughts, the what if thoughts, which that's basically going to be season 3. What if? So the what if thoughts, the what if I would have made this decision? What if I would have tried this? What if I would have, not given up? What if I would have given up sooner? What if, it's a bunch of stuff. I will assume that we all went through that. But I think people are going to enjoy it because you'll get to see that I have so much stuff. And it's just the way I see the world. It took a lot of episodes. So if you go with season 2, the whole concept is basically thinking, is it worth the power you have to relinquish in order to be at the whim of someone else's emotions, which are energy and motion. So I'm not telling you this is what you should do. This is what you should not do. What I'm doing, I'm trying to make you more aware. And it's a lot of people that may listen to this, if a lot of people listen to it, but there are people that may listen to this and go, man, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I'm happy for you. That's why I said season 2, to be here, you have to already know yourself. Season 1, you go through that, you get to know yourself while also getting to know a little bit more about me. But these things that I'm talking about is not because no one knows them. That's why I tell you information is information. I'm telling you this to create the change that I wish I saw. Where you get to see certain artists, whether it be music, whether it be, now they have social influencers. I'm probably not going to do that episode. If I do, I do a season 3. I have an episode about social media, like the impact that it's having on society. I think it's silly. So you see the type of information that gets put out there. You see the way that the ignorance, the nonsensical, the destructive, the lack of integrous imagery shown. And it's shown so consistently that it's the norm. So the norm is to see the nonsense. The norm is to see this negative message. And I just come or try to come with a positive message. a message about you, telling you that you can come to this like church. You can come. That's why I said knowledge itself is a religion. And these things I'm talking about is just basically, if you didn't know it, you can learn it. And if you already knew it, I'm trying to remind you of it. Remind you like, man, you know, you're a God. You don't have to accept that. Like, you beating yourself up, man, you're a God. You're $100 billion diamond. What makes you think, oh man, I made a mistake? Who don't? You learn from it. And who deems it a mistake outside of yourself? It's not a mistake until you say so. I got this other saying. Somebody laughed at me. I was like, everything is a yes until it's a no. I want you to think about that. I'm not going to go into it this episode because I do a long banter on it. But think about this. Everything is yes until you get the no. So everything is yes until you get the no. Think about it. And I want you to apply it to just stuff. Just think about it on your own. Have fun with that. So anyway, so you may think like you made a mistake. You may think that you haven't made the best decisions. You may think that you failed at something. This is all a part of this journey we get called life. This is where time exists in this corporeal form of life. Because if you believe in a deity, if you believe in a spirit, if you believe in nefesh, which means air from, if you go to the ancient Aramaic, I believe Aramaic, if not Hebrew language, I looked it up a while ago, but I believe it's called nefesh, which means air, but was translated to soul. So, or spirit, soul and or spirit. It became interchangeable with the translations once the Greeks got a hold of it. But that's a whole nother thing. I'm not going to get into that today. So if you believe in that, that means your corporeal form will die. But you have something that's eternal. That's of what I call God. You may call the universe. You may call Brahma. You may call Sheol, Shiva, whatever you choose to believe in. So that means that's eternal. And that's the thing that's inside of this vessel we have. That conscious, I believe, animates our vessel. So until this corporeal form is over, that's what has time. And until that's done, till that time is over, you still have it. If I'm making sense to you. So think of it like this. You could have broke someone's heart. And you could feel bad, like, man, I broke your heart. I'm so sorry I broke your heart. You can't change yesterday. You can't do anything about yesterday. All you have is today. Try to do something different. You could try to make amends. You can't expect someone to forgive you or give you the forgiveness that you're looking for. You have to find that. So you can look at yourself and say, I'm this bad person because I did this, or just try to be a better person going forward. Those are the opportunities you have. And the power that you have is all in your belief. So you have to believe in yourself first to believe that you're worthy enough, to believe that you're a God or you're a walking universe. Even science tells you everything that's in the atmosphere, everything that's in space is in you as a person. You have biblical texts that tell you were made in God's image. You have mythological text that tells you that you were always made from that God being, whether it was clay, whether it was dirt, whatever, but you were made in the characteristics of your creator. So you have something special because you are something special and you're of something special, no matter which way you choose to look at it. When I'm telling you that you are this powerful, you are God, you can use this as a religion, I'm not telling you this because I'm saying you don't know it. I'm saying the most that could be going on is you're just unaware. And I'm the dude to give you some content to say that, hey, maybe you cleaning up when you listening to me. Maybe you doing something. Maybe you like paying attention to what I'm saying. I appreciate it. But I can wrap all this up and just say, like I'm going to do at the end, and I'm going to break it down in detail. So I'm not going to do it now. But the season, the series finale or the story finale will be called, Do You Want to Be Safe or Free? And it's going to wrap everything up. Me going through these long episodes, it's just me having fun talking to y'all. What's up, y'all? We the Conscious Collective. I love doing it, love having fun, love getting this message out. And once I'm finished the message, then I can have fun if I choose to. You know, if I choose to keep doing a show, if I can generate enough income to make this a thing where it's, hey, I can just do this. Or maybe if I get like a cult following where I have a certain number of people, it could be 7 of us, I don't care. And I got enough people already paid for all this equipment. I got all this stuff already. So I may just do it and we kick it. That'd be the thing. We talk about stuff, talk about ideas, trade perspectives, and just learn from. This is how amazing we are. So I don't do this show thinking like, man, I'm making the greatest entertainment in the world, but I'm being the change that I want to see in the world. I'm creating a type of content that I would love for my nieces and nephews to hear. If I was ever to be blessed with children, they would hear, you know, a friend or somebody going through something. You may be going through something one day, and one of these episodes you may hear, and you hear a guy telling you, you a God, you $100 billion diamond. I would love if you heard that. So I got these 2 cameras. I'm paying for stuff and y'all not paying me, but I don't know if this is going to be a video episode. Parts of it may, but I have an episode that I wrote. So I wrote the entire episode almost. So I'm gonna try to record it. So I'm gonna go through and read it. I'm gonna try to, because the topic is a sensitive topic, they say. The proverbial they say. So I want to figure out how I'm gonna name the episode. I haven't figured it out yet. Hopefully when I'm editing, I can figure it out. But I have it written as, what's the difference between a homosexual and a heterosexual? That may catch people's attention. We'll see what happens. But the question is similar to nature or nurture when I did that episode this season. So I told you guys I'm getting back into the cuff of my theories and ideas. Like, let's get back into that. Then we can come back with some story time with Q. The story I want to tell, I may change it. I was thinking of telling a story, but I asked my mama about it and she told me a different perspective. And I was like, man, I don't remember enough details. I don't think to make a full episode, I would have to really meditate and try to go through that memory and see if I can find more to make a whole episode, or I just may make it a footnote to another episode. Another thing, and I might as well say this now. You remember when I told you guys my great granddaddy fought, not Muhammad Ali, he fought George Foreman. So it's actually not my mama had to tell me. I told you I didn't grow up in my family, so I don't really know them like that. But my mama told me, she called me and she was like, you said that was your granddaddy. That was your great uncle, boy. That's what my mama said. So I'm like, oh, she was like, well, you gotta correct it. My mama don't talk like that, but I like messing with her. So it was my great uncle. And not only did he fight George Foreman, I found out he fought Muhammad Ali. Yeah. Great uncle. It's called the Snake Man. Hope y'all don't get in my business and start Googling stuff. But yeah, he's called the Snake Man. And my mama said, and I think this is funny, but my mama say he was fighting Muhammad Ali and he was about to whoop him. And my great grandma, my great uncle's mother, shows up. And when my great grandma shows up, and my people, they real, you know, my great grandma, she was real, I guess, Christian. So she real religious and stuff like that. Like back in the day, my mom was telling me how strict she was. I still remember her. I remember her sitting in the rocking chair and everything, but that's a whole nother thing. But so she say my great grandma get there and somebody tells my great uncle that his mom is there. And she say that's how he ended up losing to Muhammad Ali. Now, look, I ain't trying to sound funny or nothing, but look, I ain't never met my great uncle, right? He fought George Foreman. I'm assuming he lost. Then he fought Muhammad Ali, arguably the greatest of all time. I'm not going to get into who I think it is, Floyd Mayweather Jr. I'm not going to get into who I think is the greatest boxer of all times. And to be honest, I really don't know. I'm nice with these. I got my phone in my hand, but y'all know I throw it if I need to. So anyway, so if he lost to both greats, you know, I think my mom was saying he was undefeated or something for a while. Like he was undefeated. So, you know, maybe that's why I was doing all that damage, because it's in my blood. I knew my mama was ridiculous, and I heard stories of my pops being ridiculous with the fighting. And I'm like, oh, I got it naturally. They like, no, it go further than that. And then even with my nephew and my great little cousins, like the man, we nuts. That's probably why most of us dead. But that's tough. When you tough, it's tough. I want you to know that if you're really tough, and when I say tough, I mean that you're willing, if something happened, you're willing to step up, you're willing to protect, you're willing to defend, not be a bully, but you're willing to defend. You're willing to fortify. You're willing and able to be formidable in your fight. You know, so maybe we got it naturally, but I wonder if he, you know, My mama said it was because my great grandma came and he lost against Muhammad Ali. I think she said he was Cassius Clay at the time. I think that's what she said. We got some information, but neither here nor there. So get back to the episode. So I told you this one is going to be me getting back to the information. So what's the difference between a homosexual and a heterosexual? I'm looking at it on my phone. So I told you guys I want to start giving you the answer in the beginning. So my short answer in the beginning to what's the difference between a heterosexual and a homosexual. Short answer, there's no difference. There's not one single difference. Only the proverbial they placing bait for the people to fight amongst ourselves, using tactics that I would call word magic, mass manipulation, and the backdoor theory, while technically keeping their hands clean. You remember, y'all remember the story I did in season 1, the season finale, Storytime with Q chapter 3. I tell 3 stories. Now the last story I tell is a fight that I allegedly caused by saying some words, but technically my hand was clean. So that means I manipulated the situation, because this is what they're accusing me of. This is what they're saying I did. They said because of the words I used, it triggered them, which wouldn't even be triggered, to be manipulation. So I was able to say some words, manipulate the girl and a boy, that they get into a fight to get it off me. But technically my hands were clean. My thing is, why were they able to be manipulated with a few words? I couldn't make anyone do anything. And I gave them new names in the story. So I called, that's the fight in Storytime with Q chapter 3. That's the fight between, I think it was Donald and Toya. I think that's what I called them. So what's the difference between a heterosexual and a homosexual? Short answer, nothing. There's no difference. And what I'm trying to do is help prevent us from giving away our power in a place that allows us to be manipulated. And I think I told y'all this on the show before. I know I told a lot of other people, but I tell people, don't focus on what they, the proverbial they, don't want or allow you to say without ramification. Instead, focus on what the proverbial they allows you to say without ramifications or consequences, because I believe that can help show intentions. And as I say, there's power in the question. Why is it so important what's said, and more importantly, what's heard? Do you believe that if something is said, it can affect the masses, adults, and children alike? Do you think what the proverbial they deem as negative can cause a reaction of the masses to act out that negativity in which they heard or seen? And if those are the cases, why is it okay to say and show horrible things done and said about certain demographics? I've watched slave shows, slave movies, read books about historical based stories, movies and books about slaves, where they use a word repeatedly that was used to dehumanize, disrespect, and hurt people that look like me. So why is that allowed? And I've heard people say, well, people that look like you, I go do that accent. People that look like you, they use it all the time. Can't be that bad. I get what they're saying. I understand. I think it's stupid, but I get where you're coming from. I just think it's dumb. It's stupid. You just have to think it through. You already saying that the words are powerful. And without even the words being powerful, the other reason is stupid, because if certain things are not allowed to be said without ramifications or consequences, those consequences become a deterrent out of that thing that I believe that affects most people's actions. Fear. So if people are afraid to use things that are not allowed without consequences, it would make sense why those things aren't used commonly. Do you think people don't slap the daylight savings out of people, especially at work, because they don't want to or they fear reprimand? But if what they say is true, and allowing things to be said will affect the masses and or influence them to repeat what has been said or shown repeatedly, and if it's allowed to be said, heard, and shown, why don't people that look like me get more understanding that they were affected by what was said to them, about them, in art and life? Doesn't art imitate life, and vice versa in some cases? Didn't I talk about this already in season 1? I believe it was episode 5. I may have referenced it throughout the season. So if you focus on what's allowed to be said and look at the reasoning And I told you guys, y'all never seen this before. I told y'all this on the recording. I always tell y'all pay attention to the reasoning. And that's the little move I make when I say reasoning. I'm like, what's the reasoning? What's the reasoning? That's what I like to talk about. But so if you focus on what's allowed to be said and you look at the reasoning of why other things are not allowed to be said, I believe the intentions will show themselves. And I want you to pay attention to who's allowed to be disrespected and who's not even allowed to be questioned. And that's just to see whom your true bully really is. And like I told y'all in season 1, my last bully, I believe that you're strong enough. I have enough faith in you that you're strong enough to whoop your bully ass. Because I know I would have. Look, we ain't gonna get into that. I said I was gonna let that go. I'm gonna let that go. But yeah, I want you to realize that it's a bully. That it's a bully there. I'm not saying that the bully doesn't exist. There's enough that we go through to know that there's a bully there. But similar to how I was in the episode season 1, my last bully, I was unaware that I was being bullied. I wasn't aware of it. Something was going on, but I wasn't aware to the extent. I wasn't even aware of actually what was actually going on. I was just living my day to day. It became the norm. I got so used to it, it became a part of my life. Chris say, give me my $5. I give him the $5. But a traumatic experience caused me to expand my perception, take a step back and get a better view on what's going on. And when I took that step back and was able to actually look at it and I became aware that I was being bullied, he became my last bully. And this is the faith that I share with you as a person, as a member of our family, the Conscious Collective. We are the Conscious Collective. See, so I hope you get the message. Don't get caught up in the title. Don't get caught up in the title. Pay attention to the message I'm giving. Because I believe fear is usually the bully. It can be in so many different places for someone to try to use that against you to manipulate you. And remember, I told you about word magic. Think about the words that are used. Think about the words. And I touch on the concept I talk about with word magic in season 1. I believe is episode 8. I am not human. And I touch on word magic. I may have touched on it a few other times, but I think I really got into it more in that episode. I am not human. And give you an example. So if humans label someone as homophobic, the general consensus seems to be that they hate homosexuals. I think that's playing on the words. Because if you look up the words, I'm a wordsmith, if you will. I rap. I know, and another thing I noticed, I say concept a lot. I say that in this show a lot. Nobody has said anything to me. So we could do something. Let's start looking up these words. I'm big on definitions, but not really, because definitions change over time. Like they have words for things like colloquialism. So the word can become something because how it's generally used by a demographic and or culture, right? But if you look up the definition of a word, and if you want to be nerdy like me, I told you I love information. I study so much stuff. If you here in season 2, you might not know all this, but I'll show you some more. I'm gonna go on and we're gonna do it. But you can look up the definition of words to see stuff, but you can also look up the etymology of a word, the origins of the word. And that's a fun thing. I may do it one episode, maybe season 3, maybe a bonus episode. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that seems to be the general consensus though. They call you homophobic, but the general consensus is you hate gay people. But let's look up the definition of what a phobia is, because I believe we know what homo means, right? Remember when I was telling you about etymology, I looked up what homo means on Google. You know what popped up? It said a gay man. You see what I mean? You see what I mean when I just told y'all about this with the origins of a word. Homo means same, similar. So it's the same. That's what it really means. I had to look past. It's same. That's what homo means. Same. So to be a homosexual, you're having, you're getting your yummy, got what you got, right? But the phobia part of the word is the word that I want to focus on right now. So the definition of phobia: an extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. there's another definition of phobia too that says an overwhelming and debilitating fear of an object, place, situation, feeling, or animal. Humans are animals. So yeah, those are two definitions of the word phobia. An extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. And the other one says an overwhelming and debilitating fear of an object, place, situation, feeling, or animal. So if you hate, dislike, or want to hurt a specific demographic, does that mean that you're afraid of them because of your phobia? Because I would ask, what are you so afraid of from a demographic of which you're not a member? And I would also ask, if that is the case, why aren't people that hate, hurt, and even kill people that look like me called Afrophobic? Just based on the concept presented and perpetuated. So wouldn't all the things that were allowed for me to see and read as a child and as an adult about people that look like me, wouldn't it fall under the same concept based on the reasoning that the quote unquote they give us for homophobic? Wouldn't they fall under the same thing based on the history? Wouldn't they fall under the exact same thing? All the stuff I was allowed to read, all the stuff I was allowed to see, just based on the reasoning they give, wouldn't it be identical to what they call homophobic? And if not, what's the difference? Maybe there's too much power in certain questions for people that believe they're greater or better than you. So maybe it's not the reasons given. Maybe the reasoning that's given may not be the reason, but it's by whom the reason's given. You know, I look up things, and one of the people that became my teacher was Malcolm X. Not what people said about Malcolm X. I would really watch Malcolm X interviews and listen to Malcolm X speeches on YouTube. But I know even him and other famous people too have got hit with this, especially in my time. They were labeled at a point as anti-Semitic, not because of what they themselves actually said, but because of how the proverbial they implied what was said or asked. So we can look up more definitions if y'all want to. Let's look up what a Semite is. A Semite, a member of any of the people who speak or spoke a Semitic language, including in particular the Jews and Arab. That's what a Semite is. So when you hear anti-Semite, that's what a Semite is. Now, the label is anti-Semitic. So Semitic, the IC, you already get that part, right? Y'all got basic grammar and stuff, right? Suffixes and things like that. The other part of that word is anti. Let's look up what anti is. The definition of anti is opposed to, against. Very straightforward. I like that. Seems straightforward. Got straight to it. But if that's the correct word for what's being accused, why isn't it anti-Afro or anti-homosexual? It just makes sense to me. The definition makes sense to me, at least. Maybe I'm missing something. So let's look up what is the definition of anti-Semitic. Let's see the whole definition then. Instead of breaking it down, let's see what they got. So anti-Semitic, the definition is feeling or showing hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a cultural, racial, or ethnic group. They whole definition. That makes sense to me. So we didn't got some definitions. These definitions is hidden. I just want to put that out there. But I think it's mainly word magic. And I think the word magic has people looking in the wrong direction. Similar to I told you guys in season 1, what is addiction? I told you I don't believe that you actually have an addiction to the substance itself. I don't think something has that power over you. And I've even explained it scientifically. Like everything that happens, like your reward center in your brain, the dopamine that gets released through, it's an endorphin that's called dopamine. So the dopamine that gets released is a pleasure center. So people be like, oh, that's what you're addicted to. You can't be, even scientifically speaking, because it still is inside your prefrontal cortex, what people call like your motor skills. So those feelings have to go through your prefrontal cortex, which means you still have to make a choice. But the problem, I think, is you could be looking in the wrong direction to face your bully, to defeat your bully. And you wonder why you keep going through the same thing. Because if you're looking in the wrong place to defeat a bully, you're not giving yourself a fighting chance. So this is why season 1 is all about you, to try to explain to you how valuable you are. You are God. You are a walking universe. If you believe that nothing created everything, you are. That's what you are. Whatever you choose to believe in, you have to be a part of it. So you have to first be aware of it. So you believe in yourself because you are God. And if you believe in God, why wouldn't you believe in yourself? Wouldn't that be blasphemous not to believe in yourself and God made you in their image? Think about that. So this is why I tell you, even in the intro, we're all this valuable, but we're all equal. Don't let them confuse you. We're equal to. So only the fearmongers want a hierarchy in place in order to fan the flames of fear that's within you and manipulate that fear in the quote unquote, their favor. While you develop true phobias that you believe in so much that you feel debilitated by them. But it's all in you. And it's all through your belief. And I just have enough faith in you that you can whoop that bully ass. I believe in you. Even if you don't believe in yourself, I'm going to keep telling you I believe in you until you start believing in yourself. So I'm just saying whatever that fear is. And I told you guys that sometimes that pain, that on the other side of that pain is usually that salvation, or that, what I like to say, ascension. But you whoop that bully ass, whoop that fear bully that somebody's manipulating or fanning the flames of it, that you become more and more scared of it. You really become debilitated with it. You whoop that bully ass, you come out on the other side, then you can no longer be bullied in that area again. I never said it would be easy, because ease is anti-progression. So once you get through the confusion of word magic, false prophets lying to convince you to hate some and fear others for their quote unquote, their benefit. So once you whoop that bully ass, you can choose how you want to be moving forward, because what you choose to do is up to you as a God with the power of choice. And I was thinking about doing this as an episode, but it seemed like it can go into this too. But does what you do define who you are? I want you to think about that. Everybody that can hear my voice. Does what you do define who you are? That's something I want you to think about. I'm not even going to go into it on my end, but that's something I want you to think about. But there are bullies everywhere. And I already told you I hate bullies. But I've also told you I got enough faith in you that you can whoop that bully ass. Now, I'm not cursing as much. My mama told me not to curse so much. So there may be bullies everywhere. But I believe you can defeat your bully. You just have to be looking in the right place to face your bully. Because remember what I told you after my traumatic experience with my last bully. I became the guy bullied the bullies. That was my thing. I bullied the bullies. And somebody had to explain to me, you are a bully. And I hate bullies. But look what happened, how me handling my trauma became a thing, because I'm fighting everybody outside of my bully. I never saw Chris again. So I took it out on other bullies, because yeah, they were bullies. They probably weren't my bully. I would intervene. I see somebody getting messed with. No, try that with me. Try that with a dude like me. I became the guy that bullied the bullies, but because of my traumatic experience, I also became a bully, the very thing I hate. Because you know how they say, hurt people. And I became a perpetuator of that. So just because I was hurt when I did nothing to deserve it, it still doesn't give me justification for those that I've hurt because I was triggered. I have a saying about this. I believe I told it to y'all too. If you are defending when you're not being attacked, you're the one attacking. So I had to get through the pain of my traumatic experience and manage the fear of it ever possibly happening again. So I trained like Goku to become formidable. I told you I used to look like an action figure, 12 pack and everything. I was getting it. I trained like Goku so I can be formidable. And then I decided with the power of choice to choose faith over fear and believe in myself, no matter the challenge. So if what we do makes us different and we are labeled by it, what do we label and call the people that orchestrate the conditions that causes us to fight blindly? And like I've asked you guys, I think I asked you guys too, but as I asked you guys before, do you want what you want, or do you only want it the way that you want it? Like equality. Because I believe I actually represent what a lot of people say they represent when they say that they're on the side of equality. But I just may not present it the way that they want me to. But if you listen to my show and you get to know me, especially if you've been through here, you know me. You know me. You know a lot. You don't know full. I'm told you I'm a God. But you know me. But I'm here and I'm all about equality. So I may not present it a certain way. I may not be the way and show it the way that somebody wants me to show it. But that's what my whole message is about. That's my message. So if what someone can say about you is so important that it can affect the masses, and you have to stop people from saying certain things because the effect would be so catastrophic. Think about why certain things are allowed to be said about certain demographics. This is not a comparison. Fear and faith, those are the only things in comparison. This is simply to get an understanding. This is simply to tell somebody that I know is probably smart enough to see it, but just doesn't face it. This is just to give an understanding. I could do this with anybody's demographic. So why are certain things allowed to be said without ramifications, without consequences, but certain things are not? And if you believe it's because your demographic is so strong and so tough and you're leading, try to say it about someone that has power. Try to stop someone that actually has power. And you'll then see if you're the predator or prey. You'll then see who your bully is. Because no matter who says something about your demographic, you sit there and go march. You sit there and ask somebody and scream at somebody, hey, this is wrong. Don't do this to us. Whatever your demographic is. You could be saying it's hatred. You could be saying it's sexual preference hatred. You could be saying it's quote unquote race hatred. You could be saying it's class hatred. You could say it's country hatred. Whatever. Complexion hatred. Whatever your hatred is. For you to go get your get back, you got to go ask somebody. If the bully hits me, I go whoop the bully ass. I don't go ask the principal, hey, principal, can you stop the bully from hitting me? Because guess what? Principal may suspend him. Ain't gonna stop me from getting hit. Because I'm still gonna deal with it. That bully would have to fear something. So that means either I'm gonna rely on the principal or the school or whoever's power that I don't have to take care of my bully, or I'm going to have to take care of my bully. So it's just looking at it a certain way. So maybe your bully isn't your bully. And maybe the strength you have may not be the strength that you think you have. And like I told you guys, we find ways to find differences amongst each other. We are the people. We are the inhabitants of this planet. There's a rule over us. There are rulers, a ruler. We don't know, but you can become more aware. It's similar to how they say the house slave and the field slave, they're fighting. House slave hate them field slaves, and the field slave hate them house slaves. They fight each other. They mad at each other when they're both enslaved. They both have a master, but they're so busy fighting amongst each other that they can't see that this was orchestrated and put there as bait. Why I gave someone a little bit more than you and gave you less. So I give you less so you can be mad about that. And I'm just the one that's trying to inform you like, hey, we got the numbers. It ain't say it's going to be easy, but we got the numbers. And it's just me trying to tell my other co-occupants of this planet, because the conscious collective, I think we already good. But I want us to try to spread the message, spread the warning, And if you do listen and you hear all this I said and you think about what I told you, what's the difference? Why is this word magic going on? What is this backdoor theory where if you say it in this place, you can use it and pay close attention? So my question is, are you going to bully others now that you have this knowledge? Or are you going to help others become aware of what they are and the power they truly have? So this is where I believe wisdom comes into play. Because if you understand it, you know you have the ability to manipulate it. But how would you use that power? To see the value in us and help your brother, your sister, your co-occupant of this planet become aware of their power, or use the power you have in knowledge to make them less than because you don't see them as equal to. Because for me, this is how wisdom comes into play. Wisdom understands this because we're all in this together. We're all ingredients to a dish. We're all elements on this periodic table. We're all planets in this solar system, or just predator and prey in this jungle called life. So why would I see a difference just because someone said there is one? So no matter what has happened, we only have today, and we have the power of choice to decide to do something better. But in any case, don't let your past bully your present into becoming your future, because what they call pure is tampered with. The cure can't answer it. You're lost in a world looking for answers that's answerless. We're about to have some fun, y'all. Look, man, this show finna change, y'all. Spoon fed long enough, now it's game on. Flame on, Johnny Storm with his napalm. Stay calm, yeah, strong, but it ain't on. Excuse me? But there's power in the question. You'll see that the power's in your essence. Confuse me? But I found it impressive. I constantly responded and found a reflection. It's also reflective. Now tell me what is info. Disregard, you don't know what your info. Start saying you a god playing limbo. That shit I had you at odds with your kinfolk. You telling me it came from God cause I'm in rote. Forgive me, but it's hard to compress all his knowledge of self and astonishing in post. To invoke, I'm a god that's within quotes. I've been dope and my conscience a big hoax. Accuse me if you think that I'm wrong when I speak with my balls, but this is his show.